Okay, guys, we're back. And I've got an exercise for you here. You can see how we've got the Juggernaut in front of us, right? This is a sketch I did up and then obviously copied it. So we've got two versions here. And you can see it's relatively thin lined, right? It's if I zoom in, there's not any heavy lines. It's almost pretty consistent. It's really just a sketch at this point, right? Maybe a good looking sketch, but still a sketch, right? What I mean is we don't have any of the finishing done up on it or anything yet, right? We don't have any of the rendering, which is really what this course is about. So how would we approach rendering on this exercise, right? How would we tackle it? Well, you could just go in and, if I come in and I can start to, I don't know, use some type of ink and start to go heavy, presuming the lights from above, I can start to ink heavy like this, and, or I can even, if I want to, plot it in and just do a fill, that type of thing, right? And I could start to ink doing the process this way, right? Like just going at it, right? But there's something that I want you to pay attention to in this particular exercise. So, we've got a lot of different techniques in this course about how to render with pencil, with ink, with markers, right? So the choice is yours how you're going to render. But what I think is important is noticing when colors change on a costume, how would that impact your rendering, right? So what color is the Juggernaut? Well, I did a rough kind of color base on him, right? And you can see we've got these kind of off browns, this red pattern. Basically, I kind of did three colors here. Actually, four more if we start to get into his face. But three main colors here is skin, the brown, and the red, right? How do you approach inking this, right? Well, sorry, I keep saying inking, but really it's rendering, right? How would I approach rendering it, right? You can look at it and say, well, the skin is one texture and the outfit is another. The skin is a skin texture, presumably, even though he's got tough skin, he's the Juggernaut. But maybe the outfit is, this harder, not latex, but this harder type of hard rubber latex feel to it, right? I've actually seen Juggernaut rendered with more of a stipple pattern on his helmet and stuff, right? So the choice is yours. One thing I would recommend, though, is to check out the tonal values. If you take a look at the tonal values, you can see, okay, well, his skin's quite light in tone. It goes into the red, which is darker, but still kind of medium tone. And then the brown gets into this darker tone, right? So then I'm using inking as an example, right? But you can use whatever you want. If I'm inking, maybe, for example, like let's say I want to, it's a heavy light and I want to black out this entire area or something like that, right? I'm going to black out this whole thing. Something along those lines. Like the light's coming from above and I want to black it out, right? So I'll just kind of back this out so we can see. Well, maybe what I would do then is come into the lighter areas and subtract a little bit of that away. And of course, I'm cheating here because I'm using digital means, right? But, I might come into that. And so on the skin, it would not be as dark, right? We've talked about how light reflects off of lighter surfaces and stuff, and his skin is fairly light, right? And then once we get into this, the ab section, we might even take away a little bit more. Something along these lines. And again, this is just kind of rough. And so we can start to take away more in here. Maybe a rim light that bounced back here. Maybe a little bit of texturing in there. And so you can see that the heavy black might still stay in the pec region, right? It might even do even more. But as we get through the lighter tonal values, we start to back it away. Okay, so once it hits the skin, there's just a little bit of shading on it, right? When it hits this mid-tonal value, it's medium in heaviness, in whether this is inks or shade or however we want to word it, right? And when it gets into the browns, it gets a lot darker, right? So what you could do for this exercise, again, depending how you want to work, you could print out this worksheet. Kind of what I might suggest is going over the whole thing and saying, okay, well, it's backlit. Maybe I want to kind of go like this, ink it all in, right? And then just say, okay, well, where would I take it away from? Well, you know what? This is really light in the skin, so I'd start subtracting. And this is what the exercise could be. It could be like a subtracting exercise. And again, it depends on how you're doing it, right? Whether you're using traditional means or digital means or anything like that, right? But yeah, this exercise is geared towards understanding how you're going to render over different base tones. Okay, so I've given you 2 examples here. What I'll do is I'll make sure that I include this as a worksheet in the unit so that you can ink over this base, and then you could also go on this blank. You could print it off as many times as you want, render it in as many different mediums as you want, and just really have fun with it. Explore different lighting like we've done before, different lighting approaches and stuff, right? But really, this exercise, again, and I'm going to emphasize this, is tackling how you would render over different tones. Okay, guys? So have fun with this, and I'd like to see some of these posted up later or sent to me. Have fun with it, guys.